Hello and welcome to the all new, all different Geeks Unleashed. I'm Mark.
I'm Steph,
There you go. I thought you
aka
forgot
Link.
for a minute.
I had to mute my mic.
Hey.
I did kind of forget. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh shit, oh yeah, yeah.
Oh shit, I'm called Steph. Uh, anyway, right, okay, before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to like our video, subscribe, drop comments, all that stuff. If you're watching live, please
Which
feel
did.
free to join in. Um, just frame of reference here throughout the video slash YouTube recording. I don't sort of shout out hellos and all that while we're recording, but if you join in with the conversation, I'll always bring you in. Um, also, yeah, like I say, please be sure to comment, etc. And if you are on your favorite podcast platform, please remember to subscribe again on Apple, Spotify, Podchaser, and leave reviews, etc. Also, we do have a Kofi. Do you know what? I need to throw the link up if you're on. But yeah, if we have a Kofi, so please feel free to chuck some money in the pot. I would appreciate it as well. So anyway, now we've done the housekeeping. Link, how's your week going?
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. Yeah, yeah. It's been a good week. It's been a busy week. I was thinking about that today. I was like, so it's Friday. I've streamed every day besides Tuesday. I was like, I was talking to you in the
Oh,
back chats about pacing ourselves
yeah.
earlier. It was more like a message to myself, like, bro. But no, it's been a busy week. We've had some great costumes for the trick or treaters. It's been a good week. Happy it's we're here Halloween. How about you?
Well, I couldn't imagine streaming every day. Like the week has disappeared. So,
Yes.
it's been. You don't have this over in America. We have half term. So
Mm.
between the end of summer holidays and Christmas, the kids have a week off in the middle, and my youngest has been home all week, and
Do
I've been
do they
working.
not have
Well, so
it at
both
the
my
same
kids have been
time?
home all week. Sorry, both
Okay.
my kids have been home. Sorry,
Okay.
both my kids. So my oldest went away for a few weeks. Sorry, a few
Okay.
days.
Okay.
That's why when I say my youngest has been here the whole time. My oldest went to my mother-in-law's for a few days, like she gets like 2 or 3 days. Um, but my oldest is fairly self-sufficient. But my youngest, it's requiring a lot of patience in my end in the end. So no,
Well,
it's like,
question real quick.
sorry, yeah.
So here in the States, if been out of school for a long time now, it'll be 20 years next year. Uh, I remember we had our so we started school like maybe late August, early September, and our first break wasn't until Christmas break. We'd have like maybe 2.5 weeks off, 2 weeks off, and then sometime in like February or March, we had like a winter break. It was like a week and a half or a week off or so,
Mhm.
and then we'd have spring break, and then summer break. Like spring break would be about 2 weeks, I believe, or a
Is that
week.
Easter? Is that Easter time?
It was they were all a week because Christmas. Yeah, Christmas break was like the longest. That was 2 weeks. Oh, summer break was the longest, but yeah. So summer was like from we'd get out like maybe June and go back
Mhm.
like late August, early September. So like, how do you guys breaks work over there?
Yeah, so we have the summer like you, and that's probably about 6 weeks, and then we get to October, we have a week off,
Okay.
and then get to Christmas, and then they have 2 weeks at Christmas, and then it feels like they're only back about 6 weeks, and then they have another week off in February.
Okay.
At some point, another half term, and then they have 2 weeks off in April for Easter. Like normally, that's either side of the the Easter bank holiday. Normally,
We need to
it's
follow that because I mean that wouldn't benefit me now because I'm a 37-year-old man, but I don't I wish I had remember being a kid. I wish I would have had a break around the fall time.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, give us some relaxation.
I personally think the summer holidays is too long. 6 weeks off, they're bored, they're almost desperate to go back to school because it's like how much entertainment can you provide? Like I find the summer
Yeah.
holidays can be a lot to deal with.
No, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think back as a kid. Like as a kid, I used to savor some of they seem as an adult, it's 2 3 months will go by and it would seem like it was last week. but as a kid, like 2 3 months or two months back then was it seemed like a lifetime, like half a year, like so it's like it seemed like I don't know. I was always excited. I don't know if I was necessarily always ready to go back to school, but I was always excited to say, oh,
Mhm.
see my friends in a while. But I was never looking forward to like the homework and stuff.
I don't know. Okay, should we? We'll let's say let's get into it because I think before we know it, there's a lot we wanted to discuss. We were, by the way, for anyone listening, this is how much of a like geeks me and Steph are. We were on this 10 minutes before. We were just talking about headphones for 10 minutes.
The quality, the brand.
well, we were talking about the brands, wired versus Bluetooth. So okay, so guys, last week my Bluetooth cut out during the middle of the show, well, towards the end of the show. So I've gone completely wired, like old school, back in the day, I had a Walkman. I had one of those. I upgraded my Walkman to get one of the ones that was like a dual side Walkman, so it would instantly flip over to the other side. Because I used to hate having to eject the tape, turn it over, and put it in, and all that. I eventually upgraded to the mini disc player before going to the iPod, and now I pay for Spotify.
Man, it's so crazy. You have me thinking about because I was recently thinking that you talking about Walkman. I was thinking about a CD player back in like the late '90s, early 2000s. And
Oh,
how
I
that,
hated
like,
those. Hated those.
yeah, bro. Talk about you could not enjoy a song if you had to be still. Even it had the anti-skip shit. It didn't really go very far. It just I remember buying like kids these days won't have to go through that struggle. Well, it's just interesting because I see like the younger kids adapting the style of like the early 2000s. Like the style's a little looser, baggier, but it's like back in the day. I had to have my jackets a certain size because it's like if I can't slip my fucking CD player into my pockets, like what are we doing here? I can't just be carrying this around. So it's that had me thinking of like classic stuff. Random thought, but yeah, just the convenience of technology. Like you had to have a CD player and you could have one CD, so it's like you probably had to mix some songs in there if you wanted some variety because you couldn't carry like a CD case around with you. But
That's why I
nowadays
loved. That's
everything's
why I loved mini disc players. When they
oh yeah.
when they invented the mini disc player, I was like, this is it. This is brilliant. So I
Did you
went.
ever
Sorry.
iPod Shuffle?
No, I didn't bother with the iPod Shuffle. I kind of didn't see the point.
It was a terrible tease. Like that, I had one and it pissed me off because it's like you couldn't. So it's like you could play songs in order, but it's like if you got 50 songs, I don't even know if you can have that many. But it's like if you want to hear a certain song, you got to fast forward, click through all these songs to get to it, or it's on the random. It would play random. Like, what if you don't want to hear that song? And it's like the next song was random as hell too, so you might never get to the song you wanted to hear. It was such a weird invention of the early aughts.
I just felt like it would annoy me having the shuffle. The idea of being out and about and wanting to listen to a particular song and having to press skip 25 times to get to song. No, when they brought the iPod out, I had one of the first iPods where, so later on they just had the disc, so the round disc, and you had the buttons were built into the disc.
Yeah, to click. Yeah.
You clicked it. I've actually got the iPod still in the garage. Well, it was about my
no shit.
Yeah, it's a shame I haven't got it near me. But anyway,
does it work?
Oh yeah, it still works. Yeah. I use it. Do you know what? The only time I ever use the iPod is if I go on a plane. Like if I go to America and I know it's like an 8 or 9 hour flight. I charge that iPod up and I use the iPod for the flights. So because I don't always necessarily want to watch something or read something the whole time. Not to be honest with you, there was so much music on there. Like I don't really go and add new stuff on there because I don't know what it was.
I'm curious if it's like stuck in like.
To be honest, I do check it. Like normally before I go on the plane, I will check out what's on there. So it's like 120 gigabyte drive. So there's so much music. So there's so much music. Yeah. Even though I haven't updated the music on there for probably 10 years now, there was a.
Okay, so it's stuck at a certain era.
Okay. Yeah. No, there's probably not much on there for the last 10 years, but so I generally will charge it up before I go on holiday because I think if I get on a plane, sometimes you're just sitting there and I don't want to watch any. Like I will watch a lot of stuff. I don't really read on the plane, but because it's.
I sleep on the plane.
I sleep a lot as well.
That's to combat my anxiety. I'm like, all right, I might as well go to sleep.
I always fall asleep just before takeoff because like I don't know about you. I know we're really deviating here. I get you think about it. You've probably gone to bed really late, getting ready to go. You had to get up really early. Then
Right.
you've got all the stress of getting to the plane, getting through what you call it, all through the passport control,
Yep.
etc.
That
Then
can be a
you've
headache.
got you've got kids, whatever. You sit down in the plane and it's like, oh, now I can relax. Like you're obviously not at your destination, but there's nothing else you can
Yeah,
do
you don't
now.
gotta. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
and
put your feet
so
back.
I'll end up closing my eyes and suddenly waking up when the plane's taking off.
I wish I had
Um,
your comfortability, my man. Like I can't. I don't fall asleep until we're well into the sky. Like, cause I'm not. It's not like I'm a frequent flyer. I've been on a plane like a handful of times in my lifetime. I can probably
um,
count probably about 5 times.
I just wanted
Uh,
to circle back to that iPod thing. So I got one of the first ever iPods, and it was like 10 gigabytes. And I don't know if you remember this, but the buttons that were in the disc initially were separate. They were three circle buttons above the disc.
yeah,
Do you remember that?
yeah.
Yeah. So, but I didn't have it long because I didn't know this for ages that I had a faulty iPod. Because I basically couldn't skip it that many times because the iPod would crash and all this stuff. And I just thought maybe like Apple was just not very good. And in the end, I was like, this is just getting ridiculous. So I went back to the shop I bought it from, and I'd had it for months. And I went back and I started explaining it all. I said, look, is this just normal? Is this like what an iPod's like? Because I've never had one. They went, oh no, that's faulty. I was like, oh, I've been using it for like months, thinking this is rubbish.
I thought that was the
Uh,
norm.
yeah. And they went, no. They said, let me send it off to get repaired. And I went, okay. And then they contacted me and they said, no, it's unrepairable. And I went, okay. So they said, look, so I have to give you that iPod's no longer available because Apple was updating it that quickly.
You're
So they
right.
said, we'll have to give you the next one up. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I got like, I don't know, whatever it was, like a 30
That's
gigabyte
before
one.
that method that Apple uses what became like a gimmick, where it's like it was cool to get something new back then, but it's like when they implemented that method, where it's like they intentionally made older devices that much slower to make you want to grab the newer device.
Um,
Yes, yes. Thank
yeah,
you.
we've just been talking about the headphones, Stephen. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm on wired headphones. Bluetooth is gone. Bluetooth is now just for my personal enjoyment, not for recording. Right.
It
Okay.
gets unreliable for professional settings,
Yeah,
apparently.
for professional people like me and you. Right. So this is it. Geek
Yes.
news. Geek news. There's two things we're going to cover.
All
First
right.
off, Steph is going to take the chair.
So yeah, big news in the gaming world. Xbox is. I guess this was like the last barrier in a lot of ways. But long story short, Halo is officially coming to PlayStation. Xbox announced, or Microsoft Xbox announced recently that they're remastering the first Halo video game, just a campaign. But it's gonna be on. I wouldn't be surprised if it's. They haven't announced it yet, I don't believe, but I wouldn't be surprised if they like it comes to Switch too. But yeah, it's gonna be on PlayStation. Like there's three core franchises that they kept close to their chest over the years. There's like Forza Horizon, Gears of War, and Halo. And in the last 2 years, maybe a year or so, like Forza came, I believe, like last year on the PlayStation. They just did this similar thing with the Gears of War where they remastered the first game, and that was on PlayStation as well. And yeah, now Halo, the like it's on all platforms, but I they're making crazy moves, but I personally believe they're making chess moves. I think they're solidifying themselves for the future. Like I
Mm.
say this all the time, and I think it's like taking a while for people to care. But I think exclusives aren't what they're not the make or break factor they used to be. Like when we're thinking of gaming in the early 2000s, 90s, exclusives meant something. Like nowadays, even even if PlayStation is doing better, Nintendo's always been its own thing, but even if PlayStation is doing better than Xbox, they're really not doing that much better. And they've got more exclusives, so that's like that argument's kind of out of the window. Um, I think the future is all about convenience, and I think Xbox is trying to solidify themselves for. They've kind of thrown in the towel, obviously, for this generation, last couple of generations, but I think they're trying to set themselves. It's like chess, not checkers. and they're trying to solidify themselves for the future generations. Uh, yeah, it is shocking, but at the same time, it's like people talk a lot of crap about Xbox. Like crazy stuff. Like because they are, it's a complicated relationship with Xbox, bro. They are practicing some egregious stuff right now, but I don't know. I think they are trying to redeem themselves in a sense, and we'll see. But they're doing good. They're like their games ever since they've switched over to like putting like their exclusives on other consoles. They're doing well.
Hmm.
Like there's Xbox published games are some of the best selling games on PlayStation. So that says something, that where they're lacking in console sales. And people keep thinking they're done. I don't. They keep saying it's like they're gonna go the way of Dreamcast and Sega. Like Sega never had the money that Xbox and Microsoft are separate, yes, but like they have Microsoft behind them. Sega was never on that level. If anything, Microsoft will keep Xbox around to implement their brand and their technology into like the common foot. That's the point. Like they were always trying to be like they started out trying to be the poor man's PC,
Hmm.
and I think they kind of lost sight of that. I think they're trying to get back to that.
What do you think
But
of
the Rogue,
the was it no
the
no
Ally.
oh yeah no I was going to ask you about the rogue. I was going to ask you about that, but no, I wanted to ask you about the Game Pass price increase.
I don't agree with that at all. I'm not gonna lie. Just because it's been there, there's been in the last 2 years, there's been like 3 or 4 different price hikes.
Hmm.
Last year they raised it to $20. I think it went from like it was like 15, then they raised it to like 17, then they raised it to 20. 20, not happy to pay that, but it's like the bang for the buck. I get the argument.
Hmm.
$30 that like if it was like 25, still would have probably complained about it, but I would have been like, okay, it's $5 more, but it's like, bro, you jumped that whole $10 is a lot. That
I
adds
know
up.
that should be a minor increase, like 20 to 22.
Yes,
But
yeah,
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 like
that's yeah, yes, but well, they made some, like I said, they've made some odd business practice choices in the last couple of years, and I think that is like a ramification of that.
I
uh
think the you just touched on the Rogue Ally. I think that's a cool move though.
what is
Yeah, the Rogue Ally, the portable.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
That
cool move.
it's a little on the. I don't think
It's
we're quite there
expensive.
yet with game. Yeah, I mean Switch works as well, but the Switch isn't that expensive. But I don't know. I don't see. I've heard good things about it. I don't see myself getting it. I'm not like a mobile gamer like that yet.
Hmm.
I haven't had a Switch. I haven't really had a portable gaming system since the PSP, the first PSP.
Yeah, yeah.
I can probably, what, in the future maybe because it is more convenient because like when the kid's over, you never know what TV he wants to take over at which point. So it's like the Ally would be convenient. Like, okay, you can't take this over. I can game no matter what with this. But I don't know if it's like we're at that point for like the overall zeitgeist for people to invest. I don't know if it's going to be a big hit. I've heard good things about it though. It is a necessary step in the right direction. I feel because it's about convenience. Like I was saying, that the Ally is convenient, and I think the future is all about convenience.
Yeah. So do you know what I sorry, we can jump in there.
And I was just looking at some Steven said with the yes Phil. I think Phil Spencer was in between a rock and a hard place. He's the current head of Xbox. I don't, he's made some valid points. Like they did lose a very crucial generation, which was last generation with Xbox One, PS4. That's when everybody built their digital libraries. That's a common complaint about switching over now. It's like I've got all these games on this system. Why, I'm not going to start over on another system. But I mean, to be honest, none of them are doing. So Nintendo's always done their own thing. Sony's not doing much better than Xbox. I just think Xbox is easier. They're the easier scapegoat. The easier to like,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll call them on their bullshit. But Sony's right up there.
Yeah, so I've got a PS5 and I've got a Switch, and that Switch doesn't travel as much as I thought it would, but it
Right.
has traveled a few times. It mainly stays in the dock downstairs, but a few times we have taken it out and about. I have only ever paid to stream games on one period, and that was during COVID because we couldn't go out
Right.
and we were trying to create more and more stuff to do. I actually did for the first time in my life pay to stream games, and my kids and even my wife started playing on the PlayStation. My wife doesn't really. She likes the Switch for the Mario Kart and stuff, but they were playing like all the Sonic games and like they were playing. That's how they ended up playing Spider-Man because I think they threw that on there as part of the subscription at one point, and then I ended up buying it. And when you talk about digital library, on my PlayStation 4, I've mostly have disc, but I did start to buy digital games. So I was kind of I don't
You know
mind.
why? I think
They're both.
I think they should. I don't know. I don't know if there was a way around that, but I do remember like because I was big supporter of physical games. Like for the 360 generation PS3, I was like, yeah, I'm buying my game physically because it's like it takes forever to download, and I can just go get the game, come home, pop it in, start playing. But when it came to like the PS4 to Xbox One generation, it made no sense because you still had to install the game. So it's like
Mhm.
when it came to like say for example, if it was a midnight release, you could buy it from home, start downloading it, and probably start playing it before someone who got a physical copy because someone who got a physical copy had to drive to the store, wait for a little bit, get their copy, come home, pop the disc in, then install the disc just
Oh
to play
no,
it.
yeah,
So it made no
that's
sense
annoying
for
too.
physical at that point.
Putting your disc in and still having to wait 2 hours to play it. I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
And that's actually one of the reasons I do love the Switch. Put the thing in, plays.
plays. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just
It's how it should be.
yeah. Anyway, right, let's draw a line under Xbox, and we're going to jump into. We haven't done this for a couple of weeks, but you know what's coming up.
This is it.
Can't believe we're staying at the Psycho Killer B&B.
Oh,
Well,
oh, that's so cool. It's a motion detector.
Hello?
Hello, Sydney. Did you miss me? Nice little town you found. You and your pretty daughter. Reminds me of where we grew up.
Well, you sure know a lot about me for another asshole hiding behind a voice changer.
Oh, I'm not hiding, Sydney. Not this time.
Down to the end.
oh, you could never do this.
This is giving me
I want to be a
Scream
fighter
too, aren't
like
you?
you. If you hurt her,
I'm not going to hurt her until you're here to see it.
let's unmask this fucker.
All your friends died for just being near you.
Where is my daughter? Tatum, listen to me. He's trying to find another way in. We're gonna do this together. You're gonna have to shoot him through the wall. Where? To the right of the door. Shoot him now! Do it now! Oh, you got it. He's dead. You need to make sure you shoot him in the head.
I'm gonna burn it all down.
Mother...
Oh, so many thoughts.
is gonna be fun.
Damn, I was on mute the whole time. That's crazy.
That's what I thought. I thought it was me.
My bad. No, that's damn. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Scream is one of my favorite franchises. I appreciate how they've always stuck to their guns, like kept it within the like they've not veered off course, like and gone like a crazy supernatural route. I am curious as to it's kind of giving me supernatural, not crazy supernatural vibes, but just this Ghostface seems very unrelenting, and he's like, I'm not hiding anymore. I'm hopefully.
I was going to say before the trailer, I wanted to like just quickly. So Melissa got fired from doing this, and then so because obviously she was in Scream 5 and 6, and the kind of franchise has been built around almost like like Star Wars, where it's like passing the torch. That's how it felt to me. And then she made some comments online, which we don't need to get into, but she made some comments online, and the studio decided to cut her. And then what's her name? The girl who plays Wednesday. She got cut.
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega.
She chose not to come back.
Sorry, she didn't get cut. She chose to then not come back, clearly to support Melissa. And I was annoyed about all of it because I felt like the road they were going down was that Melissa could eventually turn. That's kind of where I was wondering where it might go.
She had the darkness in her.
Yeah, she had the darkness in her. And I felt like, was it going to be a third part to see the end of her story? And that's a part we're never going to get. Well, at least for the time being. You never know what the future holds. Sometimes people.
Yeah, Neve Campbell didn't want to come back because they didn't want to pay her. Now they want to pay her, so here she is.
I'm sure they've paid her. So anyway, to come to this trailer, one of the bits that really jumped out at me that her daughter's called Tatum.
Tatum.
Yeah, like her best friend from Scream 1. So I thought that was.
Oh shit, Rose McGowan.
Yeah. But did you ever see the Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes?
Yes, where he drop kicks Michael Myers through a wall.
But it was like a documentary in the house.
It was supposed to be, but set up.
But when it started, the Scream trailer, it gave me that vibe, like in the B&B of the house,
I was getting well, it's interesting you say Halloween, but more recent Halloween Kills vibes, where he's just like Michael Myers is just fucking wrecking havoc, and he's.
I've not seen the two. I saw the first one. I saw the first one, and it's really weird because I went back the other day and rewatched the first one because I was going to watch the second two. I will do it this week probably, but anyway, so to come to the trailer, I thought the trailer was a great trailer, really action-packed trailer. I'm glad that Melissa's not back, but it's cool that they've brought back at least two of the foursome that they had in the
I'll be honest, I've not really heard about that. It was.
Well, they were in the trailer. Did you see them?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Randy's.
The niece and nephew. Yeah. I'm Melissa's character. Like I personally, this is Neve Campbell's franchise until she can't do it anymore. Sydney is like the ultimate final girl.
Uh-huh. No. I'm glad she's back. I just would have liked to have seen Melissa's story come to a close before we got this.
Okay, I get it. Okay, yeah.
Oh no! I never wanted Neve to go away, or Neve to go away. But and this is great that it's now built around her family, and they deliberately only they deliberately.
Did they ever mention her having a daughter in the last couple? Or
yeah. In the last, I don't know if it was the last one. No, it wasn't the last one because she wasn't in it. But the Scream 5.
Yeah.
They showed her with a buggy, like pushing a baby. And I think they had mentioned kids or something. And she also had said her husband was called Mark. So the guy she met in Scream 3, which is the guy from Grey's Anatomy, his character was called Mark, and he was meant to be in this film, but he, the actor, I forgot his name, the guy from the guy
Scott Wolf, or not Scott Wolf, but I know who you're talking about.
Not Scott Wolf, the guy who played McDreamy in Grey's Anatomy. He was meant to be in this one because of scheduling he couldn't, so they've got a brand new person.
Patrick.
Dempsey.
Dempsey.
Something like, yeah. So So he was meant to be the husband in this film, but then his scheduling could make it. So they've got a new person
Okay.
who's also going to be called Mark. So she's obviously got a type. And yeah. But anyway, look, I think it looks good. I'm excited for it next year. When I heard that trailer dropped, I was straight on it. I've watched that trailer like 4 times before we even came on. I'm a huge Scream fan. So.
I'm shit, man. I'm just curious as to. I feel like if they're bringing back Matthew Lillard, because it seems like he's having a bit of a career resurgence revival. I don't want him to be another like Billy was in. What was it, the last one where he's an hallucination or an illusion?
So they've said that Roman's going to be back. They've said that Matthew Lillard's going to be back. They've said a few other people. I'm of the mindset that most of these will be illusions or something like that, or maybe even voices on the phone or something like that. But I think that will be a lot of that will be misdirection. And there's always been the rumor that Matthew Lillard's character survived because he's the only one who didn't get shot.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one who got hit by a TV. So,
he got fucked up though, man. He got stabbed pretty deeply. Then he got a TV smashed on his head and electrocuted. I mean, it's movies.
If he's alive, it's going to be pretty effed. Yeah. I don't know if you know that he made a cameo in Scream 2 in the background. He's at a party, at like one of the frat parties in the background.
No shit.
But, look it up, and there's a picture of him in the background. That wasn't deliberate for Stu to have returned. It was just that he was visiting the set one day, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to be an extra in the background?" And
fuck it. Yeah.
But do you know what? That would be cool if they like did somehow reference that he's like watched her from afar. They wouldn't, but. Well, actually, you don't know.
I mean, you could. You could pull from that. Like, I don't know. There's something there.
Yeah.
Especially if we're gonna bring him back and he's alive, like you'd have to. Like he's been watching because like you said, it seems like this is like. Of course, Scream is gonna progress from here, but it seems like Endgame, like you said, he's not hiding anymore. Like seems like he's been waiting for a while.
Well, and there's a reference on the phone when they say, that they refer to our town. So it's definitely somebody connected to the beginning. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's been well thought out, and we'll have to see.
I love the Scream franchise, man.
Oh yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of the Scream franchise. So what have we been doing this week? Well, we'll just be quick on this because we know. Is there anything you want to shout out? Either that you've read or watched?
I've been as I was saying earlier, streaming a lot this week. Go check out Pop Culture Philosophers, Blood Splatter Chatter. They did their closing chapters for Horror Fest this week. Robbie did the Chucky franchise. That was actually a really good conversation. Some great movies there. Chucky's actually a great icon. And then the Blood Splatter Chatter, that was quite the interesting episode. Vern had some technical hiccups, but we covered the classic The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. That had me, they remade, I have the old game for the Xbox, but they remade it. I gotta buy that. Just a note to myself. But beyond that, I was talking about Dispatch game I was playing last week. They're releasing new episodes every Wednesday, so like 2 episodes every Wednesday. I played episode 3. I haven't finished 4. I started 4. But yeah, still an amazing game. Worth checking out if you're into like The Boys, Invincible. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I know, man. Like, I need to. I haven't watched. I can't remember the last time I watched a Chucky. A long time ago.
Yeah, it had been a while for me.
And you're probably going to kill me for this. I've never watched The Thing, so. They were doing a rewatch. They were doing a rewatch of the cinema this evening, but there was no way I could make it to that and could do this. And,
understandable. Definitely check it out. I
want to. Do you know what it is? Like for years, I wasn't interested in horror, and I'm still. There's certain horrors I won't watch. Like I won't watch the paranormal films or anything like that. But there's certain aspects of horror I've now started to get into. Like I've always loved Scream and the slashers and all that kind of stuff.
I find that interesting.
But I've said to
Yeah.
you how I watched Barbarian a couple of years ago. I've watched all of the Maxine trilogy that came out recently. Um, Obviously, the films that we're going to talk about tonight. I texted you earlier in the week where I'd watched the first episode of the new It TV series.
I still have to check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I'm
So
excited.
I've started to kind of start to dabble in it,
Baby steps.
but I'm not gonna like the paranormal stuff. That kind of plays in my mind. So
I find that that's what I find interesting. And we've talked about this before, but like me, I don't like paranormal stuff because I find it the most boring. Like the rules, all the rules change because it's a corporal entity. You can't really. I like physical threats, like
yeah, I agree with that.
werewolves, anything physical, Dracula, vampires, zombies, like something you can possibly hit.
That's why I didn't like the Final Destination franchise for a long time.
Yeah,
I was like, how can you defeat it?
How do you
There's
combat
you can't win.
Yeah,
The franchise is unwinnable, and ultimately the whole thing is completely unwinnable. I've now watched all of the like. So I went to the cinema.
which one do you think is the best? I'm curious.
I actually, do you know what? I actually really like the latest one. I really like the latest one.
Yes. I think that's been the bit up. Besides the first one is classic, but it's not perfect. But I think it's taken them a while to get to this point. But yeah, the latest one, I so agree with you. I think they found like a way to make it work in a sense, it doesn't feel so fucking overwhelming. Like this whole entity, they seem like they had a method this time for how to kind of combat death.
Oh yeah, well,
yeah, that way.
Yeah. I'm just going to shout out one thing and then we'll move on. So I watched a film this week. I watched it from the BFI app, which is the British Film Institute app. It's a bit like Netflix, but it's more like mostly indie and a load of old films that are not indie, or they weren't indie, but maybe they are now because it's so old. The film's called Islands. It came out this year. It's just literally 2 hours long, 2 hours and 3 minutes. It's a 15. It's got some people in it that people may know. A guy called Jack Farthing, Sam Riley. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Stacey Martin, and then everyone else is kind of more just bit roles. It's more of a 3-person movie.
Right.
Well, say 4 if you include a child that's in it. Look, if I was just to be totally honest, it's probably a 3 out of 5. It's not going to change your life or anything. But I came out of it like really wanted to. I didn't come out. I watched it at home. But after it finished, I was like, I want to talk about this, like, because I had theories and stuff like that. And there's little references like, so the premise of it is a kind of retired, previously professional tennis player. So he was a pro, but now he's too old to be a pro. So he just works at a hotel and he gives a lot of lessons to rich families that come stay at this high level resort. And he befriends this couple and their child. And there's a couple of little things that you start to wonder that you may miss early on. So he says he recognizes the wife, for instance, and he says, "You seem familiar to me." And then she dismisses it, saying, "Oh, I've done some TV work, just minor stuff. Maybe that's it." And that's never really brought up again. But when you follow the film back as it goes on, I'm now wondering if they have met like earlier on. And I don't give too much away about the film, but there's a point as well where the husband goes missing, and maybe he's dead, maybe he's not. I don't want to tell you how that resolves. But then the wife and the tennis player get a bit closer whilst they don't know where he is. And then there's a kind of the wrap up of it all is all very odd, and it's very left open to interpretation.
This came out this year?
Yeah, it came out this year. I don't think it was at the cinema or anything, or if it was just limited release. But look, I'm not going to say the acting's even the strongest, but it's more. I love that it gets you questioning some of the characters' motivations.
Right.
So I was really intrigued by that. I think the female lead she's quite weak. But the tennis guy is a tennis player. I think he was the strongest. So yeah, anyway, I don't want to say any more about it. But it's definitely got mystery on several fronts. So, right, okay. Steph has got some horror recommendations as it's Halloween.
Yes, sir. These are just to do like a top 3 of just some interesting or personal favorites. That I think are somewhat overlooked. Yeah, these I think are all overlooked. Your mileage may vary, But first up is Overlord. Came out like 2018. It's about a group of. It takes place during World War II. A group of soldiers, a band of soldiers, go behind Nazi enemy front lines, and they kind of discover that Nazis are like creating super soldiers, like zombie super soldiers. It's like it's not straight up horror, but it's definitely got horror element. It's like horror sci-fi. Got some action vibes to it, but it's got I keep saying it's got the dude who plays U.S. Agent Kurt Russell's son. Why am I
Oh
forgetting
yeah,
his name?
yeah.
And I personally think this is the film that got him the U.S. Agent role because he kind of, I won't say too much, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's underrated, overlooked. Next up, we'll go with something I've seen a little bit more recently. The Sickening. It is, I want to say it's a Korean, but I could be absolutely wrong. Like Taiwanese zombie film. If you've heard of the comic Crossed, it's
Yeah.
very in that vein. It's a gnarly movie. Got some in a way it's like a weaker version of Train to Busan, but it's very gnarly. It's way more gnarlier. Definitely worth checking out. And a personal, just classic favorite of mine that I don't think ever gets enough love, and I think it could be remade. It's just perfect to be remade. Is Night of the Comet. Uh, Classic '80s, not even really zombies, but it's got a zombie element. But I just look it up. Night of the Comet. I'm not even gonna do it justice trying to explain it. Night of the Comet.
Night of the Comet.
It's amazing. Yes.
Cool, man. No, I thought as it's like 31st of October, people are all dressed up and all that. I thought I said I know Steph's a much bigger horror fan than I am.
Still learning my ways. Yeah, like you, like I'm like you, like where it's like I wasn't the biggest horror fan for the longest time, and I had to like take baby steps into it. Like I watched this.
I like horror that, like you say, I prefer someone that's physical. But
Yes.
I also like horror that's kind of. I know the film we're going to talk about in a minute. It may not necessarily fall into this, but I like horror that's got some cleverness to it.
Yeah.
I love the first Saw film. I think the first Saw film.
Found the Islands movie. I'm gonna be watching that later. By the way, sorry, I was.
Yeah, no, let me know. Yeah, no, the first Saw film. Whilst all of this, I've only seen the first 3 Saw films. Whilst they are really difficult to watch, there are some horrific visual moments in there. I look, I'm going to spoil this because it's so old now. I love that the bad guy is in the room with them the whole time.
Yeah.
That to me is one of the best twists I've seen. It's like even films that are not horror.
No, yeah, Saw 1 is a brilliant film on all fronts. Like not even just a horror film; it's just a brilliant film. Like Saw, I actually personally enjoyed Saw up to 4, like Saw 1 through 4. But it is Saw 2 where they kind of lose the prestige. It becomes kind of like a popcorn flick. Saw 2 going forward. Like Saw 1 is a unique beast, though. It's just
Saw 1 where like there's a dead body in the room the whole time, and then in the last 10 minutes, or well, not even the last 10 minutes, the last couple, like 2 or 3 minutes of the film, suddenly the body gets
fucked
up.
me up, man.
And I was just like, what? That to me was just brilliant.
That made me not trust it. I was 16. I saw it in theaters, man. I think came out like it was around the time Resident Evil Apocalypse had come out, and maybe it came out before Resident Evil Apocalypse, but I saw after. But I just remember not really expecting much because I liked the first Resident Evil. It's not perfect, but Resident Evil Apocalypse was terrible, and I wasted money to see that in theaters. And so I was not, as a 16-year-old boy, money was very scarce. Those movie tickets mattered. The money for so. But when I remember just like what. I'd never seen anything like that before, and it made me not trust people for the longest time because I was like, bro, that dead body was there the whole fucking time, and that dude was alive. No, I can't even trust my own mother. No, I'm just kidding. But, it fucked with me. It did. I was like, bro, you can't take anything for face value.
Okay, so let's move into the main event because we've been going a while now. You guys might need to go to bed soon. All right, so the main event is Black Phone 2.
Black
So I'm
Phone.
just going to shout out Black Phone. This was interesting to me. The first appearance of Black Phone was from a short story first published in 2004 literary magazine called The Third Alternative, issue 39. It was later collected into a collection of stories by Joe Hill called 20th Century Ghosts, which came out in 2005. You know, this Third Alternative is going for over 350 quid right now on eBay. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Spoiler alerts. We're going to talk about the film, so we are going to ruin it. If you've not watched it, tough luck. Oh, that is a good visual image right there. So if you're listening on podcast platforms, just the whole element of him being in that phone box opposite Ethan Hunt's character. Anyway, the film is directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed the first one. Writers are Scott Derrickson and Robert Cargill, who co-wrote the screenplay for this, and producers through Blumberg Productions, Jason Blum, Scott Derrickson, C. Robert Cargill. Executive producer is Joe Hill, and you can keep going and go on eBay and look up the rest if you want to know more. So, I think you're right to show this out.
Yeah. So the cast, we got Ethan Hawke as the villain of the film, the monster, the grabber. Mason Thames as Finney. He's returning. He's their protagonist from the original film. Madeline McGraw as Gwen, Finney's sister. Well, I don't remember. I didn't rewatch the first one, sadly. But I don't know. She wasn't a focus if she was in the first film. She wasn't.
She was in the first. She was in the first one, and they did show like the dreams and stuff. But yeah, she's got a bigger role now.
With the sister in the first one?
Yeah, the sister was in the first one.
Yeah. Okay. He wasn't not like a super prominent role though, right?
Oh, I mean, she did have the dreams, and throughout the film, they did have the dreams, and they did link it to. They referenced the mum. Yeah. Oh, we'll get into it in a minute, but yeah, go on. Sorry, Karen.
Jeremy Davies, as I hope I pronounced that correctly, as Terrence. Oh, he's a good actor, great actor, actually. He's been in Lost, Saving Private Ryan, and he's Finney and Gwen's father. Miguel Mora as Ernesto. He is a new role for the actor who played Robin in the first one.
Yeah.
New cast members. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So go on.
All right. Damien Bicar as Armando, the supervisor of Alpine Lake Camp. Ariana Rivas as Mustang, Armando's niece. Anna Laura as Hope, Finney and Gwen's late deceased mother. Maeve Betty as Barbara, sanctimonious camp employee. And then Graham Abbey as Kenneth, Barb's significant other. Not so much sanctimonious.
Yeah, I love Barb.
Got the devil in her.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one came out quite a few years back, and the sister, from what I read, had much more of a minor role even in the short story.
Right. Okay.
And when they adapted it into the film, they gave her the supernatural dream abilities that she has in the second one. She also had them in the first one.
So that wasn't a thing in the original book, though.
No. From what I read, I haven't read the short story. But what I read was that she didn't have those abilities in the short story, and I don't even think she was really in much of the short story from what I've read. But she was they expanded her role in the film in the first one, and there was a lot of the dad being quite angry with her for a long time because his wife, their mother, had those abilities.
Right.
And we know from the first one that she killed herself, and he was a drunk, and that's how actually really in some ways it very nicely leads into this. He's now he makes a comment about how long he hasn't had a drink for, 2 years or something like that, but her dreams start to return, the sister, and she's got a much bigger role in this film. So just before we get into it, just what's your overall thoughts on the movie?
That was okay. I remember really kind of digging the first one. I thought it was like a more hardcore, gnarlier version of something like Lovely Bones. That's why I should have rewatched the first one, but I don't remember the sister stick. Like I felt like to me, just with the first watch of the second one, I felt like the emphasis on the sister's role kind of like I was more curious about the original protagonist, the brother Finn, and his like the. I thought it was an interesting point to jump off of, like how does one who's been through a traumatic event, abuse in a way, how does that affect them in the long run? Because in a lot of movies it's just like, oh, they've been through a traumatic event, back to happy-go-lucky. It's not the way life actually works, and I appreciate
or like
it.
Gen V2 when they get locked up and suddenly they're back at school
And we're all good friends, yeah. But I appreciated that. Like I wish they would have gone with that farther in this movie, that the brother's arc, like that showed like the events he had from the first movie had a strong effect on him, to the point where he's like people who go through abuse like that kind of have like a self-sabotaging mentality sometimes. And I think that they were like, it was evident in him, but it's like the focus quickly shifted to the sister, who I couldn't even really remember from the first film. And I didn't really care about the super. I felt like it went from like the first one was a hardcore gnarly version, not gnarly, but it was a more hardcore version of something like Lovely Bones. It seemed like a weak version of something like Freddy Krueger. Like, oh, she's being attacked as she sleepwalks, and he's supernatural. All of this, like the first one didn't really. They hinted at it, but it didn't have strong supernatural elements. Like, and now all of a sudden he's Freddy Krueger in this one, and I don't know. It just seemed the story elements they chose to focus on are not the more interesting aspects of the movie to me. Okay,
Yeah,
not terrible.
I agree with you. So the first one felt more like it could have been realistic, other than the actual black phone element, where he gets the odd phone call from a couple of the previous victims who maybe give him some hints and stuff. But and I know Gwen does have some dreams in the first one, but for the most part, the show is driven by the living, so to speak, the actions of the grabber in a human form. Finn as a human, Gwen as a human, the police, the dad. It's kind of more of a human tale, whilst yes, okay, some elements of supernatural, but not. But I would say it was not really a supernatural film.
Yeah,
maybe the ghost elements maybe make up less than 5% of the overall movie. Then we pivot over to this, and this is now a full-on supernatural film. It's complete. It's almost like a genre shift.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like the first one was more horror thriller. This is more horror supernatural.
Yes.
Yeah, and so when the whole thing of Gwen kept falling asleep and all this and getting attacked in sleep, I was like, damn, this has become Freddy Krueger. Like this whole.
I was disappointed.
I didn't like that twist. I didn't mind necessarily the supernatural elements, but I didn't like that she couldn't fall asleep or she'd get attacked and you saw suddenly parts of her arm start bleeding. Well, because she's currently fighting him in her sleep, and that part for me, it was alright. It wasn't. I didn't love that part. What I did, I love that we got some backstory on the mum. I think it was good that we got an explanation of the link with the mom, and because we got references of her dreams in the first film, we got those references, and I do get it. Sometimes we don't need to have things explained to us. Like I've never been a fan of like the Joker movie because it's not a film we needed.
Yeah.
And is this a film we needed? No, it isn't a film we needed. This is definitely a cash grab because the first one did so well, and then I think it was. I didn't look it up. I looked at the numbers earlier, but it was a successful film, so hence why we got a second one. And they've jumped on the money, and this story was not a short story, and they from the short story, this is a brand new tale. So they've created a brand new thing following that first one, and it becomes a supernatural thing. And for me, it's suddenly how. Towards the end, they all decided that they knew how they were going to defeat the grabber by, rescuing the dead bodies of his previous victims from the bottom of a lake. It was like, what a jump to make. None of you are supernatural experts, and at no point is anyone in your group a supernatural expert.
We're gonna go to a winter camp. That's another odd choice. Like I don't even think I'd ever thought about that until this movie. I was like, they have winter camps? Like I thought it was like a summer vacay thing, or I didn't know they had winter camps.
Yeah.
Religious winter camps at that, and it's like I don't know. I just thought it was such an odd reach where it's like it's almost like a Scooby Doo thing. Like, all right, gang, we got the clues. Let's go execute our plan.
Do you know, I've actually got the numbers here. The budget was $30 million US dollars to make, and worldwide revenue to date is 135 million
for the second one.
For the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is definitely going to get a sequel.
Yeah, it looks great. Like I love Ethan Hawke's look as the grabber, more so in this one, to be honest, because the whole when they rip his face, the bottom half of the mask, and it's just like demon shit. But he gives a great performance as a grabber. But I just the story kind of the performances are solid.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the story sucks. Like
they've also flipped from the lead. I feel from the first one was definitely Finn, to now it being more the sister. Finn that's more like the supporting member now.
It was a psych out. That's what I didn't appreciate. Where, like I said at the beginning, you think you're going to get a follow up to how Finn is dealing with the trauma he has experienced from the first film, and it's like, yeah, he is, but we're going to deal with the sister psychic shit. He's going to be in the background. And it's like, I don't care about the sister psychic shit, to be honest. Like, she didn't go through anything traumatizing. Finn did.
Yeah. It became more of a Gwen movie, I would say.
Yes.
But the Finn, helped along. Finn is.
He was there, but he should have been the focus. He's the one who went through that shit. He knows how to combat the grab. I don't know. I just a weird shift of spotlight to Gwen. I think
they touched on his trauma in the beginning a little bit. That every time he walked past, he wouldn't pick up a phone, or eventually he does pick up and he says, I can't help you," and puts it down. I think you see some of his anger in the beginning because they obviously wanted to reference it, but then very quickly that's kind of we've done that now. We've shown the audience that he is struggling a little bit. Right, now Gwen keeps having these dreams, etc. So we're going to jump on that story. We're going to go to winter camp, which why would anyone do? And and then we're going to face an imaginary grabber. I'm going to be honest with you. Whilst I didn't love her having dream fights, visually this was cool to see her getting thrown around the kitchen, and or everyone stand there just watching this body getting thrown around on its own with no one there. Like.
I don't know, man. I've seen Freddy Krueger so much, the movies, that I don't know. I felt like that was so. It's not what I wanted from the movie, like that.
No. I mean, visually, it looked cool just to see her getting thrown into a fridge and all this kind of stuff. I also disliked that it was a dream villain. That to me is a bit cheap. So it's a cheap thing. Like
with how self-aware movies are nowadays, I just find it crazy that it took them so, like, they're seeing her she got her ass beat for quite a while before they're like, oh shit, let's try to stop it, before she gets thrown into an oven. She was like slid across tables, thrown into a couple walls, refrigerators, before they decided like, oh, let's act. It's just I don't know, like at this point in where we are in cinema, it just seemed too weak. I know we get weak writing, but I know the first one was it. I actually enjoyed the first one. I know it had its detractors, but I was like, man, why are you guys hating on it so much? This one, I would understand why people are hating on this one. If they like, this one was, I just felt like the story was so weak. Nothing I wanted, like, I don't know, like even with the Finn bits, like, yeah, he answered the phone at the end, but it's like that wasn't the focus. That they showed more of him kind of dealing with earning that, it would have been a more interesting film. But we got the sister and her random psychic. There was no rhyme or reason. I didn't even bother looking up who the director was. I'm shocked it was Scott Derrickson. I usually like him as a director. I think this was, man, the more we talk about it, the less I like it, to be honest.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like I watched it at the cinema 2 weeks ago, so it's been some time since I watched the second one. I went on opening night to watch it. I went with actually I don't know like if he'll rewatch it. I don't know if he's watching it now. I went with a guy. You know what we're like, Steph. You know we all made friends online, and I made friends with a guy online who like lives up the road from me, and we've been seeing films together. Rob, if you're watching, when we went together, and man, I'd had a hell of a night before I even got there. And I remember sitting down and grabbing a beer, watching this film with a beer in my hand. So I was ready for this. Sat down and watched it, and look, visually, I love the kind of the tint and the cinematography. I think that just really did pull me into the sort of early '80s vibe that they were going for. You know, the guy who plays the kind of camp master. I love his motivation that he was there when there was kids killed, and he bought it, and he's kind of been determined to find the bodies. And I love at the end he gets to fulfill that by ringing the parents to let them know. But this is actually something I wanted to jump on here. There is no body count. Nobody gets killed. It's a horror movie, and you've got this supernatural killer, and there's a point where the camp master is on his own. And I honestly thought he was going to get offed. I thought this was going to kind of...
Even Barb and her husband, I thought were at one point going to get offed, and they didn't.
When I walked out with my mate Rob, I just said to him, it's hit me that not a single person got killed. Like, other than the 3 kids that were killed before the movie. Like, so no one really got killed in this film, which I thought was... It gave me supernatural... kind of slasher vibes in the beginning. I thought they were going to get picked off one by one, and in the end, nobody got picked off. And you know, they kind of won the day, which is obviously lovely.
And then I don't even like. I try not to nitpick at stuff like this, but it's like the inclusion of the Gwen's boyfriend who tried to be friends with Finn at first. He was just there taking up space, like he did. I don't know. You could have had the film without him, to be quite honest, and it could have just been focused on Gwen and Finn trying to. Like, he was just there. This I don't know. I found myself asking, like, it's not like I didn't want a Black Phone sequel, but if you guys thought like we got to turn it out before we lose the momentum, that's not the answer. That's what it felt like. Like, fuck, we just got to put something out. I don't know. It seemed I usually really enjoy Scott Derrickson stuff, like Black Phone. Did he do Sinister with
I don't know. I don't
Eric Bana? But it's Doctor Strange. I don't know. This one's definitely seemed like a cash grab. Like,
So this to me was a cash grab. Look, the points I think I liked though were that they included the mum. I think like giving some background is cool. Look, not necessary, but it was nice to have that backstory. And also, I love the fact that the dad wasn't just cameo material at the end, that he does show that we do see bits of him throughout the film. Because I thought we wouldn't see him much throughout the film, and then they kind of show little bits. And then he comes out, and I love seeing his full story from the drunkard in the first film to kind of a redemption arc in the second film.
There's an understanding.
Yeah. And now we get the understanding that I feel he became a drunkard seeing his wife hung himself, although now it turns out she was murdered. So that to me was a nice overall arc between both films. I'm disappointed in, like you say, Finn. I feel should have been much more traumatized and much more of an angry man. Or
I just think he should have been. I think they were onto something, and we just didn't focus on it. Like him beating the shit out of that bully at the beginning, like him smoking weed, like, it's like stuff like that, like trying to numb distract himself from the inner turmoil he's got going on in his own head. Because
I'll throw this out to you. What if the grabber wasn't back in the second film, but Finn was so traumatized that he became the grabber? That to me would have been more interesting, because it's not supernatural then.
No, but then I don't know. I don't like the message that sends. It's like, because it's not true. Just because someone's been abused or impacted by someone doesn't necessarily mean they become.
No. It keeps with a more of a less supernatural vibe.
I just wish they would have focused on him. I liked the whole aspect of he's not unscathed from this, just because life, there's no killer. Like, he still has demons he's dealing with because of that experience, and I just think they should have focused on that.
Well, would you? Because obviously the grabber was killed at the end of the first one. Then, if we came into the second film with him struggling, would you have wanted a kind of a new villain then, like a more?
I just maybe Ethan Hawke could have even still been the villain. I just don't understand the shift of focus from Finn to Gwen. Like Gwen could.
So you would have been
a
okay
side
with
character.
the supernatural vibe, but more still focused on Finn rather than Gwen.
Yeah, I mean, the supernatural. I was like, okay, but a saving grace. I still don't think I would have dug it as much with the supernatural vibe. But a saving grace for me would have been like, okay, at least they focused on the right story aspect of this
Okay.
kid dealing with that trauma.
Yeah. Okay. So not a new villain, but just the focus is on the wrong character. That's
Yes, I did not like. I thought
Okay.
that was so unearned, making Gwen this focal point of the story.
However, though, she is a strong actress. I got to.
Not bad. Yeah, not bad.
She covers it well, but like you say, they've switched it up. This made me think of Megan 2.0 that came out earlier this year, where not in terms of style, how we went from kind of horror, to action comedy. It was a really weird
It's a yes.
switch out. So,
Making
yeah,
her
it was
the
a weird
hero.
switch out. I like the cinematography, and I love the style of the film.
It looks great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks great, and the acting here I think is strong. The camp leader's great for me.
I'll be honest. I thought like that's what I'm like. There's something else that bothered me. It was like the whole references to really, and I'm by no means a religious man, but the whole when she's talking to Barb, like you sanctimonious twat. Every time, it just felt that it was just. You didn't even explore anything. You're trying to make a comment on how hypocritical Christianity can be sometimes, but it's like I just felt like the focus was in the wrong aspects in all parts of this film for me.
Mando, that's the name of the site leader,
Okay.
the camp leader. Yeah. And I recognized him because he was in the American version of The Bridge.
And he was in Weeds. He played the Nancy's cartel husband in like season
to be honest
5.
with you, I just pulled up his IMDb profile. He's done loads of stuff, like the Hateful Eight.
Yeah, he was the
Godzilla versus Kong. He's got he was at Alien Covenant as well. He's had a good CV on him. If I'm going to shout favorite characters, which we can do now if you want, I'm going to go with Mando. I think he was the only one I feel I got into his character and his whole storyline, how he stayed at the camp because he wanted to find those bodies. And I love seeing at the end. I love seeing at the end him bringing those parents. There must have been the fact that he kind of dedicated his mission to finding those kids. Yeah. I mean, I do feel it's a bit of a missed thing to have ignored the lake, but we can't criticize that too much because but
movies.
Yeah, movies. Yeah, I think that was an obvious thing to have missed. But.
Yeah. I'll go with I did like Finn, but I'll go and give a shout out to the dad. He's kind of excels in the roles like that. In terms of being a timid, unsure of himself character, he's very jittery.
Yeah.
Because even
Lost is I loved him in Lost when they brought him into Lost.
But he's very good at that character. But he, I think he brings that helps him in this role as a dad who's kind of, he's going through his own shit because he felt like his wife, he was responsible for his wife's death, and he's like, he's trying to raise 2 kids on his own and like trying to relate, and usually not saying this all the time, but usually the mother is the more nurturing maternal figure. So it's like I feel like that might be for dad sometimes a very monumental task trying to substitute that. And he like gets that across in this. Like you can tell he clearly loves his kids. He just doesn't know what to say and know how to say it. But he's always there for them. And like when shit pops off, he's there. He came to the camp for them. So I think he played it. I know what he did. I think that was one of the better aspects of this film. The context it gives his journey, like you were stating earlier, how he was kind of just like a drunkard dad and the first one, but we see that's for reasons. Like he's not just he's not trying to intentionally be a drunkard shit father. You know, he's dealing with his own grievances. But yeah, I'll go with him. He's a great actor.
Because it's financially done well, there's most likely going to be a third one. For me, I would like it if they left the Grabber storyline there, but because he got dragged off the Grabber into the darkness, his what?
But he's the dude though. He's like you can't. I don't know. It's like that's like saying you want a Friday the 13th movie without Freddy Krueger or some new villain to take his spot. Like
I don't know. It's just well, okay. So do you feel then that he should then get out of where he was and be the bad guy again? And so another, because would you want all this dream sequence fighting, or would you kind of want him to have much more of a physical presence in the, not in the dream?
I'd want him to, like, the way they could incorporate that bullshit of him being a corporal entity or whatever, like maybe he can hijack people's minds in their dreams or some shit and use them in the kind of like Agent Smith, where he fucking infected that one dude in the real world or in the Matrix, and when he woke in the real world, it's Agent Smith in that dude's body. Something like that. Like maybe he has to find certain victims who are susceptible to, like he can attack them in their dreams, and if he kills them in their dreams, he can hijack their bodies. I don't know. Like so he can attack people. Like I think his overall goal should be to get Gwen and Finn, since they're the one who gave him his demise. I don't think you could get much more mileage out of it. Like maybe 3 or 4 movies out of this, but with the same cast. But I don't know, like, how would you continue without the Grabber? Like, what would you do for a new focal point as a villain?
So, I've looked it up. They've not confirmed there's going to be a third one, but they have said they're open to it if the right story comes to them. Now, seeing how well it's done financially, and you know what Hollywood's like, let's make a third.
There's going to be a third one.
Yeah. So they'll just keep making them until they stop making money. That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
So I personally feel this is a nice close to the franchise. We don't need to have more. But then I also think if we did a third one, okay, this is where I was going with this. You've got Gwen, who's like the kind of seer, and then you've kind of got Finn, who's kind of could be, if you go forward another few more years, could be like the badass. You could almost have like a supernatural revival, bad guy of the week sort of thing.
Monster Hunters.
Yeah, Monster Hunters. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Like kind of like X-Files investigators. That would be cool if you jump 4 or 5 years forward, and Gwen keeps getting.
Well, by the time they make this third film, they're gonna have to jump 4 or 5 because it's like the Finn from the first film to this film, fucking.
It's like an adult now.
Yeah. So he's probably actually like 13 or something 14 when they shot the film. So he's probably 17, 18 now. No, not even, because it's only 2 years. So if we're going off that 2 year, if we get another sequel in 2 years, like he'll probably be like 17, 18, and it'll be quite a jarring difference from the first film, especially. So I think they will have to age him up. I wouldn't mind that. Like maybe the sister and the brother are going around trying to, since they've taken out the Grabber, they found other cases or some shit.
I imagine she's just going to keep getting dreams. So those dreams are not going to end, and then she's going to constantly convince Finn. That boyfriend's not going to want to come around for all that stuff all the time. He was
such a throwaway character. I don't even know. I thought that's what I'm saying. I thought when they introduced him at the beginning, they was going to go somewhere. He was just there to take up.
I was hoping he was going to get off or something. Like I just thought.
Yeah, he didn't even get attacked. That's what pisses me off. Like I thought at least he was going to get attacked, because it's like, okay, Gwen and him are developing a relationship, a little rapport. That would suck if she went through all this and someone she cared about was lost because of this. It would add some weight to her journey. But no, he didn't even get attacked. It was the camp counselors, and they didn't even die. So
let's just talk about one of them. Let's talk about Barbara. Man, honestly, that woman. She's the woman who gives Christians a bad name. She's sanctimonious, righteous, just judgmental. But I love the interactions between Gwen and Barb, like constantly calling her Barb, constantly swearing.
I just wish they would have explored that more. Like, because don't get me wrong, I appreciated that because they're, without getting into it, you experience a lot of crazy people online, and it like they get like they'll be racist as hell without being blatantly racist, but there's like a superiority complex, and it's like I was dealing with someone like that recently online, and it's like they didn't know the difference between the two yours, and they were using your out of context. And it's like they were being so uppity and loud and big mouth but when I corrected them on how they weren't using your correctly, they shut the fuck up. You know, they had nothing else to say. I just, I find that there's something there where people think they're on this moral high ground, tend to not even practice what they preach or even know what the fuck they're spouting from their mouth. It's like they're sheep in a lot of ways, I've been told something, and this is what it's supposed to be good, so I'm going to reiterate it, but they don't really put too much thought into what's actually coming out their mouths.
You get that more
That's
with
not
younger
just
people.
them, but
You get that with younger people, like, oh, it says it on TikTok. Yeah, okay, well, that can't be your frame of reference. Like,
The person I was debating was 43. I had to tell him, I was like, because they were being racist, but I was like, the bad thing is like we were both born in the 80s, but only the difference is you're aging like spoiled milk, and here I am pushing 40, and I feel like I look great for my age. A lot of people can't say that. I wish they would have just focused on that more in the movie, because there's something to say about people who think they're taking the moral high ground tend to be the biggest hypocrites. When they're like, I don't know. Yeah. Barb was an interesting character. I think she was just misinformed, like a lot of people. They hold one view and they're like, oh shit, I didn't know what I was talking about.
There's people in the world that just literally, that's my view. I can't be educated on it. That's my view. And there are some people though where that view, I'm not talking about Barbara here, like that view probably is correct, and then people will try and challenge them, and no, actually they probably are right. But then there are other people that hold on to this really wrong view, and they're so unadaptable.
The truth can slap them straight in the face, and they still won't budge.
Well, there's also people that have a view, and actually their view still may be right, but they're not understanding maybe, or even willing to have a conversation with others that may have a different view, even if ultimately they still stick to their view. There are people out there that they're not willing to have conversations. So, right, we're getting deep and meaningful here. So, Black Phone 2, or it's not called Black Phone 2. I'm going to say, let's talk about the first one quickly. If I was going to rate that, I probably would give it a 4 or 4.5 out of 5. I feel for me, this is probably, maybe I might be too harsh, a 3 out of 5.
That sounds that's fair. I was gonna say I remember being high on the first film, because I think like I was seeing some reviews of people kind of trashing it. I watched it. I was like, this is pretty solid. Like, why are you guys trashing it? I think I give it like a 4 around there.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I was leaning towards a 3, but as I've said, I think our conversation, the more I've talked about it, the more it's pissed me off about the choices they made. I'll give it a 2.5. This was definitely a cash grab. Like I found myself thinking like, who's asking for this? Like, I don't think.
I've got a question. Would you ever rewatch this film? Would you ever not for a review? Would you ever just go back and give it a second chance?
I don't think so. I can't. I won't say I want it, but I don't see myself like, there's something I was missing. I think this was a very I don't think the demand for a sequel to Black Phone was that high, where you just had to churn out. I don't know. When I watched this, I didn't bother looking up who directed it until you told me. I was very shocked it was Scott Derrickson, because when I finished this film, I was like, well, it probably wasn't Scott Derrickson, at least, so, but no, it was him. So that makes me not like the film even more, because it's like, oh, you're just trying to get that cash, and I get it. But this film was, everything I enjoyed about the first film, not in this film. It looks great, well acted, but the story was weak as hell for me. Like I'm big on stories, man, and the focus, a lot of the choices they made, I just did not agree with. So I'll give it a 2.5.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's 100% a cash grab. I think the cinematography and the visuals are great. To be fair, the acting is strong.
Yeah,
but the story is not great. I look. I'm gonna say I love the callbacks to the past. I do like stuff like that in films. I do like when it's a good link back. I love the fact that we get some context of the mum and also Gwen both had the dreams. I love that legacy thing, that there's maybe some stuff in there. And do you know what? Earlier today, I thought of a third one. A prequel focusing on the grabber in the
That would work. That could work.
That's why, because I started thinking to myself, I can't see how they could make a third one without just being a rehash of the second one. And then I thought, actually, what if we got to see Ethan Hunt in the early days?
Mm-hmm.
So after the camp. So we've got the backstory in the camp, but we've got a huge chunk of time missing. So what if we got to see Ethan Hunt in the early days? Maybe there's another survivor out there or something, like someone else who got away. And
I think,
or maybe we can see someone else getting off, So
I like that idea, because I think I think that the turnaround time was too quick for them to map out a good story build mythology for this, really, for the sequel. But were they to do a third one and it's like a prequel, like you were saying, I think it'd be a good way, like, because they don't really have to expand too much on the shit. Like, they can just kind of ruminate in one era if they wanted to. Like, it could be a one-off. But in between that time, they would give them time to actually develop a mythology as to how could we progress the story instead of just, if they wanted to, like how can, and to get beyond the past, because there is something about prequel films where you're just like, yeah, but I know how this ends, like no matter what dope shit they do in this one, I know how the story ends. So it's like, I feel like the prequel thing would only work for so long.
But I don't mean to keep doing them, but
you could get like a trilogy out of prequels, though. To be honest, I feel like, and that would give them enough time to figure out how they perceive the character going forward in the supernatural sense. Like the prequels could be like more thriller horror, like the first one. They do a trilogy out of that, maybe, and then after that, they'd have enough time to map out how do we progress the story supernaturally. Because I don't think they can get out of that at this point. Like they've dug themselves a hole where it's like, okay, he's supernatural. Like if they did a third film and he wasn't supernatural and they kind of retconned the second one, it would piss a lot of people off. So it's like they have to go forward with the supernatural thing if they were to do a future film.
I also think if we had a third one, they're ignoring one of the biggest rules of these things. You're supposed to have a higher body count. There's no body count.
At least one. One. God damn it, bro. I didn't even realize that till you said it. Nobody died unless we're counting the mom, which didn't even die in this movie.
Everyone that did die died before this film. So
yeah, we didn't see them die. That's what I'm saying. We did not see them get off.
By the way, I'm not like a freak. I'm not looking for people to get murdered here. But like, I just think if you're going into one of these type of films, you kind of expect.
I gotta have one kill, bro. Was this rated R or PG-13? Because he dropped some F-bombs.
It's 18. It was an 18.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 18. I think it's probably because it is quite visually quite horrible in places. So, that's probably where.
But we never see anything too. That's what I'm saying. Like, we see a mummified body get it, or like a zombie body get its face cut off. Like, nothing is.
Yeah, it was an R in America, so it was an 18. Yeah, so.
I don't know. I just think we should have got at least one gnarly death with that rating.
I'd love to look that up, actually, by the way. It's got a 72% positive rating from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. So, okay, cool. Right, well, we're going to bring this to a close. This is kind of a horror episode, Halloween episode, if you will.
Happy Halloween.
Next week, we are kind of carrying the horror-ish vibe still on, even though October is gone. We're going to review all of Revival Season 1. So there's 10 episodes. I've already watched the first 2, so I've got a little bit ahead. But that won't take you long to watch.
I've got some watching ahead of me. I haven't even started.
Oh, you've got a week, Steph. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'll be able to knock it out, yeah.
You can follow us on social media. We're on all of them. Go ahead. You can listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And again, please share, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. And again, thanks very much for watching. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.